American business tycoon Andrew Carnegie went down in history as one of America's most prominent steel manufacturers. In this presentation, we will discuss how Andrew Carnegie influenced culture, politics, economics, and society in the United States. Furthermore, we will learn about how Andrew Carnegie and his steel industry changed America for the better. So how did Andrew Carnegie shape and influence America? Culture. The Carnegie Steel Company would have an impact on many aspects of an American life. After his success in building the St. Louis Bridge, Carnegie Steel would be used for railroads, structures, Navy armor plates, skyscrapers, and much more. Soon, cities were making skyscrapers that would allow for larger populations and a dense environment. Over 100,000 buildings were created after the first skyscraper in Chicago was built. Many workers were needed to build this massive structure, which helped employ thousands of people. Work conditions during the time were brutal, with long, dangerous, and low-paying work being their only option. The people that worked those jobs created many of the structures which still exist in modern time. Politics. Andrew Carnegie was a Republican businessman who went down in history for leading the expansion of the American steel industry. Andrew Carnegie really had two different sides in the political world. To most small business owners, Carnegie was a copper baron. They saw him as a powerful business leader that had unfair advantages in his steel industry. Soon, the Sherman Antitrust Act was passed, which outlawed monopolistic business practices. This stopped people like Carnegie from taking over those small businesses. The Interstate Commerce Act was also passed, which stated that railroad rates would be reasonable and just. This greatly impacted Carnegie and the expansion of his steel industry, but gave small business owners a fair deal. Others believed that Carnegie deserved to be praised as a captain of industry. This means they saw him as a man who encouraged the expansion of products, provided jobs, and gave acts of philanthropy to those in need. Economics. Andrew Carnegie's Steel Company would dramatically influence the American economy in the late 1800s and early 1900s, according to our sources found in the Encyclopedia Britannica. The Carnegie Steel Company was responsible for building the first steel plants in the United States, which would lead the creation of many other technological inventions. These new and improved innovations would allow companies to be very efficient in addition to reducing the cost of making steel. During the financial depression of 1873, Carnegie invested the majority of his savings into steel production, hoping that business would take off in the near future, according to ABC Clio. To his delight, the United States steel production would exceed those of Great Britain, making the U.S. the primary steel producer in the world. Society. During Andrew Carnegie's life, he would donate 90% of his fortune to public fund faculties. Andrew Carnegie had a large impact on the development of public libraries. The demand for education continued to grow during Carnegie's time, and he responded by paying for what is now known as the Carnegie Library. When Carnegie suggested a 10% tax rate for the maintenance of public libraries, people saw it as unreasonable. This tax would later become normalized because libraries have a large effect on educating America. Carnegie also paid for many famous structures such as Carnegie Hall, Carnegie Science Center, and the Hero Fund Commission. To review what we have discussed in this presentation, we recognize Andrew Carnegie as one of America's most prominent tycoons ever to live. We also discussed how Andrew Carnegie influenced culture, politics, economics, and society in the United States during the Gilded Age, which was also known as the Fake Age. Next, we have our Works Cited page. And finally, we have our contribution page illustrating who performed each piece of this paper flip project.